So, we watched Charleston White fight one of the island boys. Let that sink in. You really can't make this stuff up anymore. We've hit a point in digital history where the boundaries between influencer beef, clown show, and combat sports are blurrier than Frankie's tattoo lines. And who's behind this entire three-ring circus? You guessed it, Adin Ross, the king of weaponized chaos, streaming it all like it's Fight Club for people who still don't pay taxes. But listen, this wasn't just any fight. It wasn't skill versus skill. It was mouth versus muscle memory, ego versus delusion. A self-proclaimed street activist against a viral rapper with more mugshots than mixtapes. This was less about jabs and more about juice, clout juice, and boy, did it spill everywhere. Let's break it down. The pre-fight madness, the actual fight, the aftermath, and what this whole circus act says about where online culture is headed. Spoiler, nowhere good. Setting the stage, the weirdest promo in internet history. Before a single glove was laced up, the internet was already on fire. Adin Ross, in classic Adin fashion, teased the fight like it was Mayweather versus McGregor 2. Except instead of two fighters, we got Charleston White part civil rights preacher, part walking cease and desist letter, and Frankie, whose biggest flex is still being the island boy with the red one. Their press tour was, well, not a tour. More like a series of live stream meltdowns. Charleston was threatening to tase people every 10 minutes. Frankie couldn't decide if he wanted to swing or sing. One second it was, "I'ma knock him out." The next it was, "I'm not even mad, bro," emotionally. These two were sparring way before fight night, just not with gloves. And then came the weigh-in. Charleston showed up dressed like he'd just left a Bass Pro Shop and a BT Awards after party at the same time. Frankie had no shirt on again and was shadowboxing, like someone taught him to fight via Fortnite emotes. Security was already on edge, and that was before Charleston fake reached for his taser just to test reflexes. Y'all, you can't script this. Fight night, ding ding. What even was that? When it finally came time to throw hands, the internet collectively held its breath and its expectations. Nobody thought this would be technical. Nobody thought this would be pretty. But what we got wasn't even ugly boxing. It was confusing. Charleston came out flailing. Pure Tasmanian devil energy. No guard, no stance, just pure swing till it lands mentality. Every punch looked like it was powered by years of Facebook arguments, and somehow, it kind of worked. Frankie tried to play it cool. He was moving, ducking, trying to look composed, but within 40 seconds, his footwork fell apart like his music career. Charleston clipped him early with what can only be described as a windmill haymaker, the kind of punch your uncle throws when the grill explodes. Frankie got rattled. You could see it. The confidence started melting. He was backing up, turning sideways, throwing panic jabs like he was swatting at invisible bees. Round 2. Even worse. Charleston got bolder, started yelling mid-fight, literally talking trash while punching. "Y'all thought I couldn't fight. Wham, say something else, boy." Slap, not a boxing slap. An open-handed street slap, barely legal. Frankie was gassed. No combos, just survival mode. Charleston landed what looked like a right cross mixed with a personal insult, and Frankie took a knee not from impact, but from pure embarrassment. A ref called it. Crowd screamed. Adin Ross screamed and grinned like the devil himself. Charleston White, the underdog who forgot he was the underdog. Let's talk about Charleston for a sec. Love him or hate him, that man came in swinging like he was fighting for more than a check. He wasn't fighting for sport, he was fighting for pride, respect, and probably to settle a few Twitter arguments from 2021. He looked wild, but there was something effective about it. No form, no finesse, just raw instinct and pure disrespect. Every punch came with a sermon. He made this fight personal, and honestly, that's what made it entertaining. Was he technically good? Not at all. Did he win convincingly? Yep. Was it the most Charleston White ending possible? Absolutely. Frankie, a face tattoo del, and now the other corner. Frankie came into this with all the bravado you'd expect from a guy who turned a Vine-level meme into a career extension. But once the cameras were rolling, his game fell apart. He had no plan, no rhythm. He fought like he expected Charleston to give up halfway through the first round, and when that didn't happen, his brain glitched. He wasn't out of shape, but he was out of strategy, and it showed. He looked like someone who trained with a mirror and no coach. Lots of flash, zero foundation. When the dust settled, his body language said it all. Shoulders down, eyes foggy, pride crushed under the weight of Charleston's Sunday punch. Adin Ross, internet kingpin or digital chaos goblin? You know what? Give it to Adin. This fight was nonsense and it trended everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Even Facebook aunties were sharing that old guy whooped the island boy. Adin Ross is either the smartest idiot alive or the dumbest genius to ever cash a seven-figure streaming deal. Probably both. He understands that attention isn't about quality anymore, it's about spectacle. Get two controversial people, put them in a volatile situation, and let the internet do the rest. Boom, viral, and it's working. Love him or hate him, he's not just winning, he's changing how internet fights get marketed. He's basically the Vince McMahon of Kick. The internet went nuts. Memes exploded. Reaction videos hit YouTube within the hour. Twitter spaces were full of hot takes like Charleston's the new Jake Paul. Calm down, and Frankie needs to stick to music. Also, no, some folks were mad. This isn't boxing. They cried. Others laughed hysterically. It's content, they shrugged, and they're both right. This wasn't a sport. It was a moment, a cultural hiccup. The kind of train wreck that lives rent-free in your head for no good reason. But here's the thing, you watched it. Maybe ironically, maybe out of morbid curiosity, but you watched, and that's all that matters. So what happens now? Charleston White is already talking about his next fight, claims he'll take on Blueface or Boozy, or whoever's got the loudest mouth and the softest jaw. Frankie? Radio silence. Not even a yo I slipped story on Instagram. Just a deep, shameful scroll through DMs hoping people stop tagging him. Adin Ross, meanwhile, is probably already planning another bout, maybe Charleston versus a YouTuber, maybe a surprise tag team match. Don't put anything past him. And us? We'll watch again and again and pretend it's not what we wanted. But it is. This fight wasn't about boxing. It was a referendum on clout. It showed us that charisma, controversy, and pure absurdity are more valuable than footwork and form. Charleston White punched his way into meme immortality. Frankie learned what happens when internet fame collides with real-world consequences. And Adin Ross proved, once again, that the line between content and carnage no longer exists. You know what? Maybe we should have seen it coming, because this wasn't the beginning of influencer fights losing their minds. This was just chapter 3 of the weirdest book ever written, and I guarantee you there's more on the way.